Joeshon for the untouchable, true school sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah. The untouchable True School Sports Empire. Y'all know the rest, man. Now listen, this is in fact my post-fight review, my long-awaited post-fight review for Lester Martinez versus Joeshon James. And your result of the fight is a Lester Martinez demolition job, a fourth round stoppage of Joeshon James. He takes his O and makes a massive statement to the super middleweight division. So listen, guys, this is a fight that I've been talking about since it was originally scheduled. I think it was like October, September of last year. It had been pushed back a number of times. It was a fight I was very excited about because Lester Martinez was obviously getting a lot of hype in the hardcore boxing community. You know, he's like the face of Guatemalan boxing. He's training with Terrence Crawford. He had been showing some really impressive things in his fights. You know, he had beaten guys like Isaiah Steen on the way up, who was a highly touted prospect. Carlos Gongora, former top contender. But Joeshon James, this fight was intriguing because Joeshon James, I would say for my money, he's up there with being one of the best B-side fighters in boxing. He was 9-0-2 coming into this fight, but he had fought so many, live competition. Javier Martinez fought him to a draw, knocked out Dynamite David Stevens, took his O, beat Vaughn Alexander. So he had been showing and improving in a major way. So I thought this is a fight that really was going to be fireworks, and it was fun for as long as it lasted. You had in the early rounds, especially the first round, Joeshon James starting off very fast, using the long range, using his speed, using his jab. But then what I saw, and I saw very quickly from Lester Martinez, I saw a lot of know-how. I saw a lot of the ability to pick up the pace and find the holes in Joeshon's defense. Every time Joeshon James made a defensive lapse, anytime he pulled back and remained too tall, Lester made him pay. Anytime Joeshon James moved forward and even squared his body up even a little bit, Lester Martinez is chopping that body up. Anytime Joeshon James' hand positioning wasn't in order, Lester Martinez would shoot down the middle. So what I saw was a precision punching assassin. That's what I saw from Lester Martinez. And Joeshon got off to a good start, but once he got out to round 2, round 3, that was about it. Lester Martinez had shown a big gap in class, made an adjustment, and Joeshon couldn't make the adjustment back quickly enough. He got clipped towards the end of the 3rd round, what I believe was a left hook. And to his credit, to Joeshon's credit, he didn't lose his fight for lack of effort or lack of heart. Like, he somehow beat the count when it looked like he wasn't going to beat the count, right? Survives the 3rd round, comes out for the 4th, and then absolutely gets just plastered all around the ring in the 4th round. And look, again, I'm not talking down on Joeshon James at all. Joeshon James, I've talked up. He's a good fighter. He's beaten some live competition, some good solid fighters as the B-side. And Lester Martinez, I think in this fight, he has made a statement to the super middleweight division, because a lot of guys at 168, I think, would have had a problem with Lester Martinez or Joeshon James. Just the punching power, the volume, the range. He brings a lot to the table to worry about, and he's very tough. He don't quit. So that makes him very hard to beat. So I want to keep following his career. I still like Joeshon James, but Lester Martinez tonight showed that in boxing there are levels, and he displayed and demonstrated that he's on a different level than Joeshon James. So best wishes to him. As far as Lester Martinez and what could be next for him, look, right now as it stands, Lester is not ranked in any sanctioning body except the WBC. He currently sits as your number 10 WBC contender. Now, at 168, there's always a lot of talk about Christian and Billy, Bektim Milakuzia, Edgar Berlanga, Diego Pacheco, Olisias Iglesias, these kind of fighters. But I would say Lester's up there with all those guys. Lester is he's dangerous. Lester is smart. Lester had a lot of experience. Lester's getting better fight by fight, and he's strong as an ox. I mean, you can't let this guy touch you. And he's got a lot of know-how about him, with knowing how to shoot in between the shots and touching you with the left hook, with the right hand. I kind of saw in this fight with Joeshon James from Lester, I'm not going to sit here and say he's not as smart as Terrence Crawford, because he hasn't proved it at that level yet, but I saw that same trait of adaptability, the ability to make adjustments on the fly, and that was probably the most impressive thing I saw from Lester tonight. So as far as who he could fight next, truth be told, right now as it stands, Lester has a nice record. Lester's record sits at a nice 19-0 with 16 knockouts. With him being ranked number 10 in the WBC, right next to him, ranked right near him, you got, where is it? I have to bring it right in front of me. Right next to him, you have Bektir Melikuziev at number 11, and then you got Eric Bazinian at number 13. I think those are both really good fights for him. Those are fighters that have been at a high level. Bektir Melikuziev was once upon a time, before he got knocked out by Gabe Rosado, he was once upon a time looked at to be the next big thing. He's been rebuilding himself slowly but surely, getting wins. So I think he needs to step up, and I think if he could beat a guy like Lester Martinez, that would really do a lot for his career and what he's got going on moving forward. And then Bazinian, he fought Jaime Munguia in a really competitive fight and lost. So I think those are good fights. If you look a little further up the rankings, you got Jaime Munguia, who's ranked number 5. And I'll tell you this, man, I don't know how realistic it is, but I would like to see Lester against Munguia or Berlanga or even Olisias Iglesias. He's really good, man. Lester has a lot of know-how about him, so I think there's a lot of guys when I look at the rankings that I think he could beat up on. Like Darius Fulgham, I know is ranked above him and is ranked pretty highly in some of the sanctioning bites. I think he'd beat the brakes off Darius Fulgham right now. But I think realistically, probably the next really good fight for Lester should be Beck Bully. I think Beck Bully has some things to prove. Golden Boy's been steady moving him. If I'm not mistaken, I remember they were trying to talk about, I remember Beck, they were talking about Lester fighting Beck, and then Beck didn't fight Lester, so that's how this fight continued to happen. But I think that's a fight they should do. I think stylistically, it's a good fight. Beck Bully's a hard-punching, forward-moving southpaw. Lester is an absolute surgeon in there. And I think with Bomac and Crawford and all those guys, he's only going to get better and better and better, and he's just mean. You know, he's mean. He's the face of Guatemalan boxing, and he's carrying that flag proudly. So we'll see how it goes for him. And I think he's a guy that people need to start, especially after this performance against Joeshon James. They got to start talking about Lester Martinez in a more serious manner, because he's a very serious operator. He's a very serious fighter. So make of that what you will. Lester Martinez makes a statement against Joeshon James in a demolition job of 4 rounds, and that is not easy to do. Joeshon James has ruined the plans of many of fighters in boxing thus far, and I'm sure Joeshon James will probably still do that to lesser fighters than Lester Martinez, but tonight just wasn't his night. He lost to the better man. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you guys make of Lester Martinez's performance? Who you want to see him fight next? All that good stuff. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you could love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this, make sure you guys click right over here.
Keep watching my boy BT put on the best interviews out here.